selling a company led to some depression. We could have a whole episode just on the grief of selling a company. You'd think, and you know, quite frankly, poor little rich guy at this point, you know, like, oh, you sold your company, poor baby. But there's some emotional stuff that happens when you're forced to stick with a company and watch the new owners just destroy it.
Really? Wow.
It's kind of like if you were to rebuild a 62 Corvette in candy apple red, you know, and this, you put your heart and soul in this for 6 years or whatever it is, building it up and fixing it, and it's absolutely perfect. And then you sell it to your next door neighbor so that you see the car every day and you see them out on their driveway with like a grinder, just grinding at that car. That's what it felt like for 2 years. It wasn't so much the technology as it was the company behind the auto pen would not be a good long-term partner. And I can get into that if that's interesting. But so I knew I'd have to eventually create my own robots. And I kind of skipped by that. But what we do at Handwritten is we use robots to write handwritten notes at scale in ballpoint pen. We use Pilot G2 ballpoint pens. So if you want to send a handwritten note every time somebody buys something on your Shopify store, automatically, we can do that. If you want to send 10,000 handwritten notes at the holidays, we can do that. If you want to send one handwritten note, just as you type it out on our iPhone app, we can obviously do that. We can include your signature. We can write it in your handwriting style. We can insert a business card of yours or a gift card to Starbucks. That's the offering. It was designed for me because I wanted to send handwritten notes out. So I came from a very traditional middle-class home with the full family unit. So I was the middle child, and I have classic middle child syndrome. Grew up in New Mexico, Albuquerque, and Scottsdale, Arizona. And it was the full family unit. So mother, father, older and younger brother there. The parents, pretty much the entire time, both my parents were realtors. They would just talk about real estate to each other. That was the dinner conversation, was listening to my parents blather on about real estate of, you know, 3-bed, 2-bath, 400, you know, 5,000 square feet or whatever. That would be a very big home. But yeah, that was the standard dinner table conversation. And then they would ask us about our day and be very supportive of what we're doing. But yeah, that was kind of it. Dinner every night. There was never, very rarely would one parent miss dinner.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. So you had a good supportive structure there. That's fantastic. So did you show any entrepreneurial tendencies early on? Was there early slinging candy or, you know, anything like that you had going on?
Man, you nailed it with the slinging candy.
Yeah.
So when I was very young, I used to take my older brother's Jeffrey wagon. It was a red wagon called a Jeffrey wagon. His name was Jeff, but the Jeffrey wagon was spelled with a G. I would take his wagon. My cousin and I would take it. We'd fill it up with candy that my mom would buy at the Price Club before there was Costco. And we'd go door to door trying to sell the licorice nibs or whatever was in the wagon. And then one time we didn't have licorice nibs or anything else. So we went in the bathroom and we grabbed the first aid kit. And I think I was 5 years old. I would never let my kids do this now, go door to door, but I was like 5 years old or something. And I would go door to door with the first aid kit, knock on doors and ask if any emergencies were going on. And they would politely say no. And I'd say, okay, I'll check back later. So that was, I did that when I was very, very young. And then in middle school, freshman year of high school, I was a total band geek, and we were selling poinsettias for band, just to raise money for band at the holidays. And I went into a local computer store. This is before Dell and all that stuff. It was right up the street from my school, and I sold them a poinsettia, but I also got a job building computers. I did that for 2 years in high school. And then I said, man, I could do this on my own. And I started a company called MacroLogic Solutions, and we LLC, and we sold computers to local Scottsdalians in Scottsdale, Arizona. And what was interesting about that was I had two very proud parents, you know, that were always happy to brag about their children. And my mother would go into her nail stylist or her nail salon or whatever. And as she's getting her nails done, she'd talk about what her three children were doing. So Dana, the nail person.
It's amazing you still remember the name too.
Well, yeah, because what happened is my mom would go in and brag about her kids. And then all these other upper middle class women would come in and get their nails done and say they were looking for a computer. And then Dana would be like, oh, I know just the guy. All our business came from this random nail woman. It was insane.
That's great.
I mean, like one of the heiresses to the Coors Brewing.
Okay.
I mean, just tons of people would come in and get their nails done, and it turned out to be quite the business. So you never know, kind of those networks of influencers. This is before Instagram and all that stuff, but real influencers, and it was just random how it happened, but it worked out really well.
That's incredible.
And then when I went into college, we shut down Macrologic Solutions, and I do consulting and stuff in college. But yeah, that was kind of the first forays into being an entrepreneur. I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And in fact, when I went off to school, I studied entrepreneurial management and computer science engineering because I was a techie guy, but I did computer science and not electrical or mechanical or anything like that, because I figured there'd be less capital expenditure to start a software company than to start an electronics or whatever else. So that was strictly the reason I chose computer science.
That makes perfect sense. And I'm assuming that held true too, because you went through and created a couple of software type technologies and companies shortly after college, right? I mean, you had some other jobs in that, but eventually you made your way into you just said Sell It, and it's was it Sell It?
Sell It, yeah.
Sell It, yes. So talk about how you got into Sell It. What made you jump into that arena?
So what happened was I came out of school. This is the go-go 2000s, when right before the bust. So companies were throwing money at young kids to do startups or whatever else. I ended up going to a consulting firm that helped large organizations try to be nimble like software company, like .coms and that type of thing. I left there and had a couple jobs and really wanted to get into venture capital. And I ended up at a venture firm in San Diego. And it turned out the guy was a madman.
Okay.
And in 4 months, my experience in San Diego wasn't great. I was in a car accident. San Diego, with the best weather in the country, it declared states of emergency due to the flooding, and there was sandbagging, and it was just a disaster. And I got fired without cause. And evicted from my apartment. Almost forgot that.
It was a streak there, huh?
Oh, it was great. So just a couple stories. I was sitting at my desk at this venture capital firm, working late one night, just trying to be a good associate. And I look out my private office into the main office of the building, and there's a garden owl sitting precariously on like a planter box, like a indoor planting thing. And I'm looking at this garden owl and I'm thinking, there better not be a camera in that owl. And I'm sitting there trying to do my work, and this owl's really stuck in my head, bothering me. And I walk over to the planter box and I flip the owl over, and sure enough, there's a webcam staring at me.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, whatever. But the owner of the VC firm was very volatile. And he came in my office one day yelling and spitting, like he was yelling so much he was spitting all over me. And he was blaming me for some stock transaction. He claimed that I sold stock that the company had without his approval, but I didn't have any legal power to sell the stock. Nobody would tell this 22-year-old or 24-year-old to, accept his word to sell stock. So it was all bogus. But I got fired, and it was good because I was evicted from my apartment at the same time, because my landlord was a crazy person too. San Diego and me did not go well together. But anyway, so prior to that, I had made pretty good money for a guy my age. But instead of saving it, I spent it all to pay school debt down.
Okay.
So when I was fired, it was kind of a bad situation because I was pretty much debt free at that point. I had a little bit left, but I had no savings. So I crawled home, basically back to Scottsdale, Arizona, and I moved into an apartment, a condo unit my dad had. He was a real estate investor too.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived in that apartment for a year. And what happened was, when my dad came to San Diego to help me pack up and move out, we were brainstorming what we could do next, or what I could do next. And this was before the iPhone. This is before all that. But he said, why not use Blackberries or barcodes to provide information on houses? When you walk up to a house or drive up to a house, there's always that flyer box,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always empty. And I said, well, maybe not Blackberries and barcodes, but what about text messaging? So that became House for Sell, which was the first product line of Sell It, the kind of the bigger text message company. So the idea was, you see a little rider hanging from that real estate sign. It says text house 123 to this number. You do that, you get the information on the house, you get pictures of the house, and then the realtor collects a lead.
Mm-hmm.
So then they know that you called for information on that house. We were kind of the innovators in that space. There's been a lot of Me Too's after that. In fact, I went to the CTIA, which is the big trade show of tech mobile companies. I walked by a booth, and this Canadian company had stolen all our material, including like this stupid photo that I had made where I had superimposed they copied our logo, they copied everything. So anyway, I walked up to the booth and I said, you got to take all that down. And they did very quickly, because they knew they were in trouble. Yeah. But anyway, so Sell It or House for Sell was our first offering. And when I started House for Sell, I knew I wanted to be bigger than a real estate play. Mm-hmm. So I sat in this condo unit with a 2-liter bottle of Diet Mountain Dew by my side, very stereotypical story. And I programmed for a year, and I got House for Sell off the ground, programming it myself. And I created something called Coupon Zap. And Coupon Zap was for restaurants and bars. I was still dating a young lady in Chicago at the time. And I'd fly out there to visit her, and I'd walk down Southport, which was a main drag of bars. And I'd see all these bars. I think, it'd be great to provide drink specials via text messaging. So Coupon Zap was created to do that. But what happened was, House for Sell's biggest client was not real estate. It was Marie Claire magazine, because what they wanted to do was text for information on products in their magazine, which was House for Sell. Just get rid of the houses and put in lipsticks and bras and stuff like that. And then Coupon Zap's big clients became Sam's Club, Toys R Us, Abercrombie and Fitch, news alerts for Sinclair broadcasting stations all over the country. So our client mix totally was much bigger and much better than I ever thought. And that was really Sell It. And then in 2012, I sold Sell It to ePrize, which was, we were based in Chicago at that point. ePrize was in Detroit, so it was a good geographical mix. But anyway, they ended up opening an office in Chicago. We merged with that office, and I ran the mobile division of ePrize for 2 years during my earnout period of selling the company. And then the next day I started Handwritten, and I'm happy to talk about that. I've been blabbering on, but that's Sell It in a nutshell.
So when you got involved with Sell It, you obviously had some very large clients that you were serving. Did you have to go in and pitch to them, or how did you get them on board as clients?
Well, my biggest, Marie Claire magazine, or my biggest to start, Marie Claire magazine and Forent Media Solutions, which was kind of exactly what House for Sell was supposed to be, text in for info on properties. They both came to me off Google Ads.
Okay.
And what was funny was, very early on with House for Sell, I attended the National Association of Realtors major show, the NAR show. And I was introduced to an investor that we brought in, a woman from Canada. And she put in a little bit of money, and she said, you're not spending money in the right spaces. I said, well, what do you want me to spend money on? She said, candy at your booth. And I said, but I'm spending it on Google ads.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know anything about realtors going to realtor shows. They just walk by and steal all the candy and keep going. I'm like, I am not spending money on candy, so I can't spend money on Google ads. So I quickly got rid of that investor and put all my money in Google ads, and it worked really well at the time. Now we're doing a lot more Facebook ads and stuff like that, but for my new company. But yeah, we got it off Google ads. And then as we grew, we started doing more pitching and stuff like that. I hired a gentleman that came from the broadcast sector, and he had connections at Sinclair Broadcasting and stuff like that. But you know, most of our clients were inbound. I mean, everything from Sam's Club, Abercrombie and Fitch was interesting. They became our largest client. And what happened there is I was at a trade show. I was at E-Tail based in Palm Springs, and I'm standing at my booth, and this guy walks by, and I recognized him. I had worked with him at my first job out of college. He was not nice to me at my first job out of college. He was, you know, giving the new guy a lot of grief. But I recognized him, and I said, "Hey, how are you?" It turned out he ran digital for Abercrombie, and he was a super nice guy. He was just giving me grief, and you know, as my first job, and yeah, that started a great relationship, and he became our biggest client.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Yeah. So talk a little bit about Handwritten now, and why you got into that. You went and successfully sell it. And then you said that you jumped right into Handwritten right after you sold it?
Yeah, pretty much the next day.
Yeah.
So what happened, which I would not recommend at all. But what happened was, I was still single at that point. I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do with myself. Selling a company led to some depression. We could have a whole episode just on the grief of selling a company. You'd think, and you know, quite frankly, poor little rich guy at this point, you know, like, oh, you sold your company, poor baby. But there's some emotional stuff that happens when you're forced to stick with a company and watch the new owners just destroy it.
Really? Wow.
It's kind of like if you were to rebuild a 62 Corvette in candy apple red, you know, and this, you put your heart and soul in this for 6 years or whatever it is, building it up and fixing it, and it's absolutely perfect. And then you sell it to your next door neighbor so that you see the car every day, and you see them out on their driveway with like a grinder, just grinding at that car. That's what it felt like for 2 years. But what happened was, from a business perspective, I saw the monster that Sell It was partially responsible for creating, partially. So we, you know, our clients like Tropical Smoothie Cafe, every time they sent out a text message to get people into their smoothie restaurants, they'd have lines out the door. Or Abercrombie and Fitch. And, you know, the solution we sold worked. But at the same time, people are getting like 100 text messages a day and 300 emails a day. And the average office worker is spending like 25% of their time managing email. And then you add on Slack and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all these, Periscope and now TikTok. You add on all these other technologies, and digital becomes a noise. At least this is my thought, that it all just becomes noise. And even the most personalized email that you receive that says, "Hey, Matt, you know, I saw you were looking at this car on our lot. I thought you might be interested in this one." You know, that email is not actually sent by the sales manager of the auto store. It's actually just algorithmically created. So you discount the value of any electronic communication you receive too, even if it does make it through the noise. So I thought, gee, there has to be another way to communicate with people that really gets through and creates impact. And when I was still at Sell It, I'd walk by people's offices and I'd see the handwritten notes that they had received on display on the bookshelf behind them, or stuck to the wall, or at home, they stick it to the refrigerator if their refrigerator wasn't stainless steel or whatever. You know, these handwritten notes, not only do they get opened and read, but they get treasured. So when I went to sell Handwritten, or sorry, when I sold Sell It and I was thanking my employees and my best customers. I would sit down and I wrote them all handwritten notes, and my hand cramped up, and my writing, I'd have to rewrite notes because my writing stunk, or I ran out of stamps, or I ran out of stationery. And I thought there has to be a way to automate this. And that's where Handwritten came from, right after exiting my earnout with Sell It. So initially we were very, very small, and it was just me. And I wasn't the most focused because I just closed up Sell It. But I bought a off-the-shelf auto pen, which is a machine that you can tell it what to write and it'll write it. Not nearly as good as what we have now, but it will do it. And we bought one, and then we bought a second one, and I developed an app first. And I can talk about why I developed the mobile app before the website. But I developed an app first, and then I developed the website, and then it grew from there. I always knew that technology, it wasn't so much the technology as it was the company behind the auto pen, would not be a good long-term partner. And I can get into that if that's interesting. But so I knew I'd have to eventually create my own robots. And I kind of skipped by that. But what we do at Handwritten is we use robots to write handwritten notes at scale in ballpoint pen. We use Pilot G2 ballpoint pens. So if you want to send a handwritten note every time somebody buys something on your Shopify store, automatically, we can do that. If you want to send 10,000 handwritten notes at the holidays, we can do that. If you want to send one handwritten note, just as you type it out on our iPhone app, we can obviously do that. We can include your signature. We can write it in your handwriting style. We can insert a business card of yours or a gift card to Starbucks. That's the offering. It was designed for me because I wanted to send handwritten notes out. So, and now our clients range from high-end luxury leather goods companies. We don't mention clients' names because nobody wants to be known as sending our service. So we have OEM car manufacturers, tons of realtors and mortgage brokers. The clients run the gamut. So that's what we do. And what we did during the last 6 years of running this company is the first 2.5, 3 years, we used these auto pens and struggled with that. And then I said, I can't do this anymore. The main reason was we got a very big account, one of these major meal boxes. And they were going to include a handwritten note in every meal box. And I called the auto pen company and I said, I need more of these robots. And they said, well, we can't sell you anymore. We have a licensing agreement. We're not allowed to sell you.
Oh, wow.
And I blew my lid because I had based my company on this technology, and they let me down. So we designed our own robot.
Wow.
We now have 95 of them. They're all the best. And I'm saying this because I truly think this is true, not because I'm a huckster. They're the best quality handwriting robots available in the world. We vary the characters, we vary the line spacing. So 2 lines are at different spacing. They kind of jut in and out on a, so it's not a clean left margin.
Yeah.
They look totally authentic. And it's a best of class handwriting robot that we use. And we don't sell the robots, we just build them here. So we're very Henry Ford style, vertically integrated. We have one area of the office with laser cutters and very high-end 3D printers and like machine shop drills, presses, and all that stuff. They build these robots, they put them on the factory floor, and then they get put to work.
Wow.
And they don't write that fast. They only write about as fast as a human. So we just keep adding more of them. That's why we have 95.
Yeah.
COVID kind of caused us to temper stuff. We stopped building. Now what we're doing is we're fixing, I think we're on revision 4 of these robots now. So we're going back, we're updating the old robots so that they're as reliable as the new robots, that type of stuff. But really, in a nutshell, why I did mobile before the website is because I wanted to be an API first company. And I actually wrote about this for Inc. magazine. But that's what we are, is we're an API first company. So if you have clients or listeners, I guess in your case, listeners that use Zapier or APIs or Salesforce.com or HubSpot, we integrate with all those systems so that you don't have to go to our website to send a handwritten note. You can just have it happen automatically. And one of our big pushes right now is we're integrating with a company called Dealer dealer vault, which connects us to automotive dealers so that we can automatically send handwritten notes when somebody buys a car, on their birthday, service reminder, holiday. So the whole thing is everybody wants to send handwritten notes, but people still don't have the time to log into our website and upload a list. So we're trying to get rid of that altogether. So that's kind of our big push right now.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you're integrating with a lot of different platforms. How are you going about getting that integration accepted? Are you guys building the APIs that then you're posting on these different services or sites or?
Yeah. So I have a developer for Salesforce. So within Salesforce, it's the most robust integration we have. And what it is for your listeners that use Salesforce, we are in the Salesforce App Exchange, which you can think of as kind of the Apple app store, and you can install our program, our app, into your Salesforce, and then we add buttons to your Salesforce. So when you go to a contact sheet or a contact page, you can see a button that says Send Handwritten Note. You click it, and then the entire handwritten experience is within Salesforce. It pre-populates the contact's address. You type in the note, or you choose a pre-templated note. You add a business card or a gift card, and then you send it. And what happens is that record gets recorded on the Salesforce activity log.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, I spoke to Matt on Tuesday. I had a meeting with him on Wednesday. I sent him a handwritten note on Thursday with a gift card. So that's how that system works. But we built the same thing I personally, because I was just not going to spec it out and waste all that time, I wrote the plugin for Zapier and for Integromat, which is Integromat is kind of like a Zapier for geeks, I guess. And then we also have a HubSpot CRM integration, and we're coming out with a Shopify integration. Do we need a Shopify integration? No, the Zapier thing does it, but we're doing it kind of just for awareness building, so that you see it right there in the Shopify store. So that's kind of why we already have lots of Shopify people using our Zapier stuff. So
that's fantastic.
So that's it.
What types of, obviously you've gone through a number of different types of companies that use the system, and because you have all of these different integrations into all these other platforms, I'm assuming that there isn't any one type of client in your case that would benefit from this. Are there any focused industries that you see as being kind of I guess what I'm asking is, who is your target audience? Who is the ideal person to use the Handwritten platform and service?
Well, I'll give you two answers. The first one's the political answer, which is anybody that's looking to send a handwritten note can use our system, but that doesn't help you. But that's truly the fact. I mean, our clients are all over the gamut. Who we're targeting right now is retail, primarily e-tail, because they have the consumer's addresses. And what retail isn't e-tail these days, So retail integrations, we're doing nonprofit because there's a huge market for nonprofit, and we're doing car dealerships. But that's not to stop us from receiving thousands of realtors and mortgage brokers every day. So we on average we do around 10,000 notes a day, something like that. Wow. For everybody, even people just wanting to send a note to their mother for their birthday or something. But our targets are e-tail, nonprofit, and actually I should throw in healthcare in there with nonprofit, and automotive.
Yeah, that's great. So there is no there's no minimums or anything like that with you can add the plugin onto your Salesforce and send one note a month, and that would go out, and that's great.
Yeah, there's no minimums. There are discounts for bulk orders. So if you go onto our website and you upload a spreadsheet of orders, you get a discount that way. You can get the same discount if you just prepay. So instead of sending 1,000 notes at once, prepay for 1,000, send them over the course of a year, you get a discount that way. Or just today, we sent out an email officially announcing our subscription plans. So if you always plan on sending around 10 notes a month, or I think we have a 25 and a 50 note plan, we have subscriptions that you can sign up for discounts too. everything's, you just go to our website, handwritten.com, click pricing, and it's all there. But yeah.
Very, very cool. Very cool. You mentioned before how, when Abercrombie and Finch would send out a text message, or I would know is the Jamba Juice or whatever juice
Tropical
company
smoothie.
was. Yes. Tropical smoothie. Yeah. They would have lines out the door. Do you have any type of metrics that you've been able to gather from any of your clients on what types of response rates they're getting to handwritten notes as opposed to other, just printed material or any type of advertising for that matter?
Sure. So in just an industry stat, and this isn't, and by the way, I'm not here to hawk my company.
Yeah, no, I'm just interested. I mean, it's curious to know like what other people are seeing based on, your technology and that, and how much better it can work.
Yeah, no, what I was going to say is I'm not here to hawk Handwritten, the company. I'm here to sing the praises of actual handwritten notes in general.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's a flip in mindset. Everybody's pivoting right and you flip left, and that gets attention. Mm-hmm. So just envelopes, forget about what's in the envelope, but the envelope has a 300% higher open rate.
Wow.
According to if you Google open rates, that number is bandied about quite readily, 300%. So that's number one. You get your note read. As far as response rates, we have a client that's a bespoke suit maker. So you send in all your measurements, and they'll make you suits in China or something at a discount, and then send them to you. They send out every year. They use us to send out a coupon to their best customers, and their standard coupon redemption rate without handwritten is around 5%.
Okay.
With handwritten notes, it's 17%.
Wow.
So again, it's that a little over 3 times. We have another client. This is more anecdotal, but I find it so interesting. They are an office snack company. So you subscribe to receive boxes every month of their snacks. And what they do is they start sending handwritten notes to people when they screw up the snack order.
Okay.
And they find that if those clients that receive the correct box and a handwritten note actually have a higher lifetime value, higher retention rate than those that don't get a screw up in the first place. Now, that being said, I think obviously a lot of it has to do with the free box of snacks, not the handwritten note, clearly, but it's still a nice touch. So what they started doing, no joke, is they are screwing up on purpose.
Oh, wow.
Then send a follow-up handwritten note and the right box of snacks. And that's raised their lifetime value of the customer.
That's crazy.
We have meal boxes that see retention rates go up 5-10%. What I think, as far as use cases, I think it's just about the thank you. Mm-hmm. It's about creating that personal connection with the customer that so many brands fail to do nowadays. And it's just sending a thank you note after a purchase. We have one client, which is a solar panel installation company. They're actually one of our biggest clients now. And they're throughout the Southeast and up the Eastern Seaboard. And they send handwritten notes after every meeting they have. So their salespeople go out, instantly a handwritten note goes out. By the nature of handwritten notes, it takes 4 to 5 business days for that note to arrive. So if they send the note right away, it's a nice follow-up 4 to 5 days later.
Yeah.
So we're doing a lot of notes for them. They don't share really any data, but what I can say is they've been a client of ours for 3 years, and their volumes just keep skyrocketing to the point they're one of our biggest clients now.
Yeah, so something must be working.
We have an OEM car manufacturer. So if you call in to the car company, not the dealership, but the car company, I don't know who does this, but I guess some people call in and complain about their car directly to the car company. We're integrated with that customer service system. So at the closure of the call, the customer service rep says it was successful or unsuccessful, the call, like you solved the problem or you didn't. Mm-hmm. And that triggers a handwritten note that says, I'm so glad I was able to meet your needs. I'm so sorry I wasn't. Mm-hmm. And those handwritten notes go out. We're also doing a lot inbox. So, and this is a little bit of a sad story. We worked with one of the largest online mattress companies. Mm-hmm. and we did these cool doodles. So instead of going on a website and them typing in the notes that want to go out, what they did was they sent us drawings that their team had done, and we replicated those drawings exactly and inserted them in the boxes. So it was like, thanks so much for buying one of our mattresses. Hope you have a great night's sleep. And then there'd be a little drawing of a cat sleeping, or a woman dreaming of a cat or whatever. And these things were really cool, and they got Instagrammed, and there was a viral aspect there because people thought they were so cool. And they did this for months, I think over a year. And then they just stopped. And I said, well, it sounded like it was going well. Why did you stop using us? They said, oh, we did that when we were a small company, when we wanted to create that personal brand. Now that we're a big company, we don't care as much.
That. Wow.
Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But that's, I swear to God, that was what they told us. So it's hard to argue when you get a response like that. But we do a lot of inbox for multi-level marketing companies. We have a nutraceutical, and we send handwritten notes to their sales reps saying, keep up the good work. You're a level 3 sales rep, make a level 4 sales rep, that type of stuff. So they really run the gamut. But yeah, those are kind of some of the examples. And
yeah, that's great. That's great. So what's next with Handwritten? What do you guys have? Some new things that you're working on?
Yeah. So the biggest is going to be a campaign manager. Mm-hmm. So right now you go in, you can schedule notes individually or in bulk. You could upload all your friends' birthdays at once for the year and then say, when to send them out, but that'll only do it one time. It'll send out a note on their birthday or whatever. What I want to do is set it up so that it's a recurring campaign manager where you say, okay, every year, send them a birthday card on this date and pick from one of these 5 birthday cards, mm-hmm. and mm-hmm. include one of these 5 gift cards with it, so that it's randomized, but it's personal. And then for holidays, send them one of these 5 holiday cards with one of these 5 messages and one of these 5 gift cards, so that it's all just kind of automated. You don't have to think about it, set it and forget it. Mm-hmm. We're also going to be doing some multi-user reporting systems. Right now, you can do that through Salesforce, but within Handwritten directly, we want to be able to allow a master account and sub accounts and stuff like that. That's lower priority on the list. And then we just have some internal systems to improve. But the big ones are kind of the campaign managers. It's really important for our automotive clients and our real estate clients to have a system like that.
I love it. I love it. This is great. And I've been experimenting with different, more personalized types of marketing and all of that, and it absolutely always does work much, much better. So,
I have one more anecdote for you, because I was speaking to this gentleman a few weeks ago. He is it's this company, and I thought it was a law firm. I didn't even know who the client was. I just heard their name throughout the office because, they're a customer. And it turns out he's a piano tuner. So he's in his clients' houses once a year. And after tuning their piano, he sends them all a note through our system. Mm-hmm. And a year later, he shows up to tune their piano again, and he'll see the note he sent them a year ago still stuck to their fridge.
Wow.
So, they're not going to print out an email or take a photo of a screenshot of a text message they've received and stick it to their fridge. I mean, this is lasting brand impression. Mm-hmm. Every time you go to get milk, you see that nice handwritten note the piano tuner sent you. I mean, it just floored me. So
real quick too, in situations like that, is he using on the front of the note, is it, using his logo? Is this a card or is it actually a note, or what types of format is he sending those types of things in?
I believe so in our platform, we have over 100 folded cards that you can choose from. Mm-hmm. Or if you prepay for 1,000 cards, we can make your own folded card for you. If you do less than 1,000, or if you need more flexibility, you can go on our website and have a 5x7 flat card. Okay. It's still in an envelope. Everything's in an envelope, and that's strictly for experiential reasons. There's something to be said for taking the time to open an envelope and all that. And I can get into that if you want. But if you go on our website, you can pick a customizable flat 5x7 card. Some of them have pre-printed backs that say thank you or holiday messages or whatever, or it's totally blank and you can add your own photo or logo to the back of the card. Mm-hmm. You can then flip it over, and it's got a a header to it where you can add like a nice piece of stationery. You can add your logo or type in your company name or whatever and choose a font. And then at the bottom, you can add a footer text like your web address or your mailing address, whatever. And it looks like a classy 5x7 piece of stationery.
Wow.
And you can just do that online. You can create that online. It's $3.75. So $3.75. You can send one of them or you can send 1,000 of them. Once you create it on our website, it's instantly available in Salesforce and Zapier on our mobile app. But because it's kind of a robust tool to actually design the card, that part of it, you have to go to the website to do. But once you do it, it's available everywhere.
That's cool.
So
cool.
I think he does it on our website. He created a custom card and then he sends them however he sends them. But yeah, he uses that card customizer to do it.
That's cool. That's very cool. I love it. David, we're actually a little bit past time here, so I certainly appreciate you spending the time talking about your journey and your experiences in that. So this has been fantastic, and I personally, I think I'm going to be using this system as well for some of our business ventures. So thank you very much.
Very cool. And if anybody out there listening wants to try it out, they can always go to our website and request a sample pack. If you click the business tab, we'll send you a whole bunch of cool stuff. Or if you sign up and use discount code podcast, you'll get $5 in credit. So you can do that and give it a shot, send a note to somebody.
Love it. I love it. Excellent. Thanks, David.
Thank you so much, Matt. Really appreciate being on your show.
No problem.